Welcome to this space, a space just for you to reconnect and look inward.
Hi there, this is Daniela. So today we're going to be talking about meditation. What is meditation, how to meditate, and I'm going to give you some tips and advice from my own experience and knowledge. A lot of people feel intimidated to start this practice, and I think a very common misunderstanding about meditation is that it is all about quieting your mind, about stopping your thoughts. And obviously, when you sit down and try to do that, try to stop your mind from thinking, can be very frustrating because it's really impossible to just shut up your mind completely. So meditation is not about stopping your thoughts. It's about allowing yourself to observe your thoughts, to become aware that you're thinking and that sometimes you might be lost in these thoughts. So when you allow yourself to observe that, to be aware of that, you can simply bring your attention back. Just observe and bring your attention back without any judgment, without trying to analyze everything that is happening there, just observing and letting go, observing and letting go. There are different approaches to meditation, different ways to practice it, but the deepest purpose of meditation is always going to be the same. Being in a state of full awareness in which you can turn your attention inward, look deep inside yourself where all the answers are, finding that clarity that it's always there, deep inside of you. It's always the deepest purpose of meditation, the core of what meditation is all about. So again, no matter how you approach it, no matter if you're meditating on compassion, love, or doing visual imagery, no matter what it is, that idea of being fully aware, fully connected with yourself, it's really going to be the final destination, what you're really looking for when meditating. So here are a few tips and advice if you want to get started in your meditation journey or if you already meditate. My first advice, especially when you're starting to meditate, is to try with guided meditations. As I was saying before, there are different approaches, so it's important to explore and try different teachers, different types of meditations. But in general, guided meditations will help you understand the practice better, understand what you're trying to do when meditating. And it might also make it easier for you to connect and to feel present. The second one, as I mentioned before, it's very important to try different types of meditation, different teachers, different approaches, and just figure out what resonates with you the most. Because even though the deep purpose of meditating is always going to be the same, there are different paths to get there and different things work for different people. So it's important to be open and explore different things. The third one is to always start with something doable for you. Don't overwhelm yourself by pretending to, meditate every day for half an hour or an hour, because you will end up being tired of the practice. You will end up giving up and saying, this is not for me, I'm just never going to do it again. So instead of pushing yourself too hard to achieve a goal that it's not really very realistic for you, start with something that is doable. So maybe it is 5 minutes 3 times a week. That's perfectly fine. You can start exploring and you can always increase if you feel like, okay, I can do more than this and I want to do more than this. You can always increase, and that will actually make you want more and not less. The fourth one is to make that space, that moment, just for you, sacred for you, a special moment where you're connecting with yourself. So whatever that means to you, maybe is finding a quiet place in your house where you can have a nice setting, light some candles, whatever it is that makes you feel connected and that will make that space special for you, just do it. Now, the fifth one is actually very important to me. When I started meditating by myself without any guidance, I used to set up a timer, and I think a lot of people do that. This is like very like personal preference. Um, but I think for me, it made a huge difference. So I think the timer felt like counterintuitive to me, to be honest. I think that just like knowing that I was waiting for that timer to go off, to stop, um, was kind of like creating some anxiety. So again, it wasn't really helping my personal practice. And I think a lot of people feel the same way when they actually get to try meditating without any specific time. It can be helpful to focus on the connection instead of the length of time you're meditating for. Now, this one has also been very important to me. So I love writing, and I think it's a great way to just get it all out. So sometimes I find it helpful to write before I meditate, to kind of like get a lot of thoughts out of my system. And it actually helps slowing down my mind a little bit. Or also writing after the meditation to kind of like acknowledge to myself how I felt during the meditation. I write down whatever I'm feeling in the moment. Also, using the breath, especially when it's not a guided meditation, but you're meditating by yourself, it's so helpful. So your breath is also going to be an anchor, a way to stay present, to connect with yourself, to move your attention inward. So there are different ways you can use your breath while meditating, but the main one is just to pay attention to your breath. And that means like very close attention. So to really be aware of the flow of your breath, allowing it to be natural, paying attention to the physical sensations of breathing. So really just becoming fully aware of your breath. And every time you catch yourself lost in some thought, just bring the attention back to the breath. So that's a very common and basic practice or way to meditate that again can be very, very helpful when you're meditating by yourself. And finally, the position to meditate. So traditionally, it's recommended to sit down in a cross-legged position on the floor, on maybe a cushion or a folded blanket, because that will allow you to have a better alignment in your spine, and it will make it easier to breathe. And it will also make it easier in some way to be more present, because sometimes when you lie down, you're so comfortable that you might fall asleep. But to be honest, I'm not the most strict about this, because I think this is not a comfortable position for everyone. And while you get comfortable to sit in a cross-legged position, it's not like, oh, I can't meditate because I can't sit like that. So that shouldn't be an excuse not to meditate. You can always sit on a chair, or you can even lie down. That's totally fine. Being uncomfortable while meditating, it's also a huge distraction. So I think, yes, the position is important, but it shouldn't be the most important thing when meditating. So there are always ways around that. It's important for you to find what works for you. There are a lot of ways around it, so that shouldn't be a problem. And now to conclude, I just want to tell you not to be afraid of this practice. It is a beautiful practice, a beautiful space and time that you're giving yourself to connect with yourself, to be present, to be aware, to find clarity and stillness inside of you. So no need to be intimidated, to feel like this is something impossible to do or impossible to achieve, because again, when you really understand what the practice is really about and you open yourself to explore different approaches and different types of meditations, you will definitely make it work for yourself, and you will understand, or maybe not really understand, but feel how important this practice can be for your life. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful, and please let me know in the comments below if you have any questions or if you would like to know anything else about this topic, because that will give me ideas to create more content for you.